Why can't we just play Larry Boy next?
Dude, no, we already said what we're gonna be doing for the past year. After Pokemon Moon, we're gonna be checking out...
I know, but why can't we just change it?
Cause once the game is picked, it's set in stone. That's what our schedule's based around. No.
But if the game is set in a similar amount of hours, well then, it doesn't really change the schedule.
Alright, you got me there. Then you're not exactly wrong when it comes to that.
Exactly, so it's possible. Niffler, you want to play some Larry Boy and the Bad Apple after Pokemon Sun and Moon?
Don't we already have another game scheduled?
That is not an answer to my question.
Sure, I suppose, why not?
I wouldn't even mind playing Larry Boy and the Bad Apple after playing Pokemon Sun and Moon, but no! The schedule is set. That's final.
Okay, how about this? I guess that Pokemon game between Vin and Robert. Whoever wins picks the next game. Nice and simple.
Niffler, you handsome genius. Yes, very much. That's perfect.
Finn, that's just a waste of time. You and I both know that I would win that game. I may not know a lot of Pokemon names, but I certainly know more than you.
This is my chance. My one golden opportunity. Do not take this away from me.
Okay, Niffler, bring up some Pokemon.
On backlog, been gone for way too long. On backlog, got so many games to play, dog. On backlog, Donkey Kong expands my dome. On backlog, me and Kylo been fucking since dawn. On backlog, did you know, yeah, Kylo wears thongs? On backlog, I really fucking hate this song. Yeah.
Glad to have you back on. I can't believe it's been over 2 years already. Like I said, man, if there's a Pokemon episode, we'll get you on air.
We're happy to have you as a special guest. Maybe you could even bring some Pokemon friends in the future.
Invite Little Pony next time. Oh, really? Well, maybe you could give her my number and we could discuss some things, because I just really dig her, you know? She's really nice looking. I mean, she seems really nice, like in general.
Alright, Kylo. Keep it in your robe. We gotta get started.
My bad. You can get my number after this. I'm serious.
What is up, guys? It is Robert of Gaming with me, and welcome to Back of the Backlog, the series where we take a look at the games that I recently beat off my backlog. Today's episode is on the game Pokemon Moon from Pokemon Sun and Moon. The Pokemon franchise is a series that I have some history with. It all started when I was a young kid. I had a Game Boy Color and a copy of Pokemon Yellow. It might have been red, maybe blue, but I barely remember because I barely played it. The game was just too complicated for my dumb, stupid, tiny, idiotic child mush of a brain. I gotta give huge props to anyone who is under the age of 10 that is actually both playing and finishing Pokemon games. Honestly, for me, I couldn't really truly appreciate turn-based RPGs until I was an adult. Hell, to this day, I am amazed at how popular the Pokemon franchise is in general, considering turn-based RPGs just don't sell even 10% of what Pokemon does. It's the third best-selling video game franchise of all time at over 480 million copies sold over the many games. However, going past just the video games is the craziest number because Pokemon is the highest grossing media franchise of all time, currently at over $76 billion. However, there's multiple sources that mark it at over $100 billion. But no matter what graph you look at, it's ahead of either second place's Hello Kitty or Mickey Mouse by an easy $20 billion. And someone like Mickey Mouse had a 70-year head start. Yeah, Pokemon is just the biggest franchise ever, no matter how you slice it. But unfortunately for me, I missed out on it all, or at least when it comes to the mainline titles. I used to watch the anime when I was younger, and I actually played a decent amount of spin-off titles, but it wasn't until 2016 when I picked up the mainline Pokemon Moon for the Nintendo 3DS to finally get into the series. Considering I'm talking about this game now, well, that didn't quite go as planned. My first mainline title that I actually did finish was Pokemon Sword for the Nintendo Switch, which I genuinely did have a lot of fun with. As they are super integral to Nintendo's console library, I do still own a decent amount of mainline titles, like Sapphire, Soul Silver, Platinum, White, and Omega Ruby. I don't know how many I'll play, or if I'll play the originals or the remakes, only time will really tell. It's literally like Pokemon Sun and Moon. In the end of the day, they did release Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but I just decided to play through Moon as this was the game I already owned. And yes, every mainline title comes with 2 versions with some differences in each, like some different Pokemon. It's supposed to encourage people to trade Pokemon with one another, or if you're super into it, just spend more money and buy both yourself. I even made a video in 2016 asking people which version I should buy. 2 things. 1, dude, my hair is nuts in this video. And 2, how does this have over 1,200 views? Can this get at least 10% of that at some point? God damn. Also, to address a comment on this video from Terminator Juice, who said, "Come on, Robert, there is no way in hell that you're going to beat this game. LOL. Well, I did 7 years later, but I did it, and that's what matters. So I got you, Juice. I got you. Pokemon Sun and Moon was released on November 18th, 2016 for the Nintendo 3DS. It was developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo and the Pokémon Company. Is this final 3DS Pokemon game any good? Well, here we are 7 years after its original release. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the story first. You are the new kid in the region of Alola, an area inspired by Hawaii, which, by the way, the game development staff would go to Hawaii to conduct research during the production of this game. That is a pretty good job. Anyway, you run into a girl named Lily and her very interesting Pokemon who she calls Nebby. Your character saves Nebby, but in the process, Nebby breaks the bridge with its power, and while all looked like death was imminent, the island's guardian Pokemon Tapu Koko rescues Nebby and your character. The guardian leaves immediately, and then you run into Hala and Kakui, who tell you how surprising it is that Tapu came out to save you. Hala says it's a cause to celebrate, and he'll give your character a starter Pokemon to set out on the island's challenge. Take on the trials around Alola and become the island's first Pokemon champion. It's an interesting early setup with the whole Guardian Pokemon and Lily's special Pokemon Nebby, which for sure will be more important as the game goes on. In the beginning, it's all about the trials and the want to become a Pokemon champion. Right off the bat, visually this game is really good looking and pretty impressive, especially when it comes to the character models. The character models are all high quality, and of course the sheer amount of Pokemon designs you'll be seeing makes it all the more impressive. The people's designs are great as well, but unfortunately for this series, one complaint that I have is that they repeat a lot of character models throughout the game. And I mean repeat as in they'll have 4 workers that look identical next to each other. I understand that there is a ton of characters that they have to model, but it just doesn't look great when the biggest media franchise in the world just doesn't change up character models when I don't even notice it in 99% of other games. However, you are here for the Pokemon. It's literally in the name of the game. Every game gives you 3 Pokemon to choose one as your starter. Pokemon Sun and Moon gives you the choice of the Grass-type Rowlet, Fire-type Litten, and Water-type Poplio. For me, it was easy. I picked Rowlet. Not because he was a Grass-type Pokemon, but because he is easily the coolest looking dude out of the 3 with that amazing leaf-shaped bow tie. When a new Pokemon is added to your party, you can choose to give them a nickname, something I truly shouldn't do considering I'll never remember a lot of these Pokemon's names if I never see them. But I like messing around with dumb names, so I always did. There is something entertaining about throwing out a Rowlet, but instead of calling out for Rowlet, your character yells out, "Go, Bowtie James!" Yes, I gave Rowlet the name of Bowtie James. Why? It's the first thing that came to mind.
I picked Poplio because I loved his adorable design.
I picked Litten because I needed a fire starter. I love burning Pokemon.
That's just fucked up.
I picked Papio because I love saying his name. Poplio, Poplio, Poplio.
Poplio, it's a mia, Poplio.
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 Shut up! Shut the hell up! Continue, idiots!
Damn. Thought you would like hearing that song. Shit. Okay. The world of Alola is very entertaining to explore with its Hawaiian influence, something that just isn't shown too much in games. There's multiple islands you'll be traveling to, and all are unique enough where landmarks will stand out in your mind when needing to ever backtrack to a certain island. Then adding to the upbeat atmosphere of Alola is the great soundtrack. Lots of really good and catchy music is in this game that will stay in my mind forever. Most of the journey will take you to certain areas on the map that'll have some trial captain and a trial they want you to accomplish. Typically at the end of the trial will be a battle with a totem Pokemon, a more powerful Pokemon whose stats get boosted and calls for help. Then at the end of the trials you gain a brand new Z move. Z moves are powerful attacks that can be used only once per battle with a flashy animation for each one. I wasn't sure what to expect with the trials, but they definitely ended up being some of the best parts of the game. Each trial is very different from one another, and it starts off with a pretty basic one. It's just a small cave with a few enemies and then the totem at the end. So it definitely surprised me when one trial had you quizzed on the audio in the game in a trivia show-like way. Then there was the ghost trial with the rundown shopping area and a bunch of things moving on their own, having you find a lot of ghost Pokemon using your camera. Then ending with the Pokemon Mimikyu eerily standing behind while in first person with the camera. These trials still had you battle Pokemon and end off with a new Z move, but there's a genuine variety in terms of what you're doing during the trials that made them more exciting and memorable. Not only that, but some of the more challenging parts of the game are during these trials. Depending on what Pokemon you have in your party, it could be an incredibly easy battle or one of the most difficult in the game. That's because it really just depends on your Pokemon's type. This is something pretty important to have a smooth ride in your battles, especially because you'll be battling a lot. Now that's not exactly surprising considering it's a turn-based RPG, but a lot of your playtime will be on this screen and it's important to at least experiment with Pokemon and have a nice variety in terms of types in your party. I'll be honest that even after finishing 2 Pokemon games, I still don't know a lot of what types are more powerful against another type. Thankfully, when versing a Pokemon you already have before, the game will tell you which Pokemon's moves are more effective in this matchup. It's like you discover the Pokemon, so now you know its weakness. It's very rock, paper, scissors like. For example, grass type Pokemon are most powerful against water, rock, and ground type Pokemon, while most vulnerable against flying, poison, fire, bug, and ice Pokemon. There are 18 different types of Pokemon in Sun and Moon, spanning across 802 different Pokemon. Yes, 802. Now apparently half of these aren't obtainable in Alola, but through transferring Pokemon from older games. Regardless, it's a staggeringly large number of models, types, moves that have been created for these games.
Quick, favorite Pokemon?
It changes every minute, so I'll say Weevil. No, Lucario. No. I forgot. Understandable.
Litten.
Is this your first Pokemon game?
Yes. Is there a problem?
No, just stating the obvious.
Yu-Gi-Oh! What?
As it is a turn-based combat system, each character takes turns performing an action. This combat style works incredibly well for Pokemon just by this game's concept alone. You are a Pokemon trainer who throws out a Pokemon telling it to perform a certain move. It works with the genre perfectly. There are hundreds of attacks that Pokemon can perform, with many unique to a specific type of Pokemon. A lot of battles are fast-paced, with many ending in a single attack that'll end the Pokemon's life, or just have them faint, which is still fucked up, but whatever. At first I was conflicted if that was a bad thing, but considering, like I said earlier, that the combat is like rock, paper, scissors, then it makes sense that battles are potentially very quick if you make the right move with the right type. Pokemon Moon is not necessarily a hard game, but that doesn't mean there's no challenge. I mean it when I say trials are some of the more challenging moments. It happened multiple times where I would go down to my last Pokemon, versing one totem Pokemon in a support. Meanwhile, I have 6 Pokemon and would still get beat up. It can get quite intense in a good way as I scramble to give some health to my better Pokemon. Whenever I would lose, I was genuinely determined and excited to catch some more Pokemon that would be a better matchup for the battle. Although truthfully in most battles throughout my journey, I just used the one and only Bowtie James. I really wanted to see how far I could go with really just using my starter. Over the course of the game, Bowtie James became an overpowered menace, which makes sense considering he's the very first Pokemon I got. Not only that, but I could comfortably play as Bowtie James and know my other Pokemon in my party were still leveling up. Yes, all your Pokemon after every battle gain experience points until they level up, which then boosts their attack power, defense, health, everything by a couple points. This is a key item given to you early in the game called XP share. Now this is a pretty controversial topic for the Pokemon fanbase. For me, I love XP share because I don't really want to grind. For many RPGs, the worst part of the game is the grinding, mindlessly repeating battles just to level up a character. For many others, the grind is what they grew up on and are very strictly purist about not wanting it and spending more hours than really necessary to get through the game. And that's fine, because in this game at least, it's optional, so you can turn it off or on whenever you like, which is great so it can cater to both crowds. After a decent amount of battles, your Pokemon will likely want you to clean and take care of them. This is a place where you fix them up from previous battle effects or just pet them. Admittedly, while I did this a lot, essentially whenever something was needing cleaning, I never quite understood how this helped as it felt like there was no major difference. It is what it is though, I cleaned Bowtie James whenever he needed something. As your Pokemon level up, eventually they will evolve. It's technically the same Pokemon with a different name, but also it's a different Pokemon. It's very much like they are growing up. Rowlet is a child when you first get him, but then he evolves into Dartrix. This is like his awkward teenage phase. I personally didn't care for this look, at least he keeps his bow tie. However, his final evolution is the badass Decidueye. Unfortunately, our adorable Bowtie James ditches the bow tie for a cool hood, but now his name doesn't really work anymore. I suppose it's like a childhood nickname, it'll stay with you into adulthood. So while really he is just James, he'll always be my Bowtie James. The final evolution for every Pokemon is essentially their strongest form. There are items so you can keep a Pokemon from evolving if you truly like keeping them from growing to their full potential, but hey, you already are making them fight others for you, so I guess it's just a part of the Pokemon trainer's dark nature. In the world of Alola, you'll run into many other trainers. This has been a staple in the franchise since the beginning, and at first I would laugh at their dialogue at how bad it is. But as I kept going, and I would see more of the dialogue, I realized it's not bad dialogue. It's actually genuinely self-aware and funny. I honestly didn't know Pokemon was this funny. It's been a few years since I played Sword and Shield, so admittedly I don't really remember this aspect, but it is genuinely entertaining. Many NPCs will tell you random facts, which is whatever and not great, especially early on, but once the adventure gets going, there's a lot of dialogue based around what they are doing. What really makes the trainer dialogue so good is just how random they could be. Once you fall into the eyesight of a trainer, you are pulled into a battle, but first, they make a comment. I mean, in a cemetery, an old woman said, "Which Pokemon do you think is fitting with the grave? Let's battle, perhaps you'll figure it out." Hey, yo! That's a full-on threat. Or how about, "Punk girl sounds scary, doesn't it? Please be friendly and call me Punky." And then it just goes straight into a battle like, are you sure you want to battle? Because it sounds like you just want to talk. Then this one's just super random. "Good morning," or morning for short. And then the battle just starts like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why do you want to fight me? You just said good morning. I mean, there's no indication that you actually want to fight me. I love all these opening one-liners though. You just never can predict what they're going to say. It's definitely entertaining. The game overall has a bunch of dialogue from your rival trainer to the misfits of Team Skull to even the map. Yes, the map. Eventually you get this companion named Rotom who holds a special Pokedex that'll tell you all sorts of info on the Pokemon you catch, but it'll also show you a map. It's like any other map in a game with a mark telling you where the next objective is, but it's quite strange. For some reason I couldn't really open the map consistently. Sometimes I tap on the screen and he'll just say some line of dialogue, then sometimes he'll actually open the map. Well, it turns out the middle section makes Rotom talk. The sides open up the map, but not too far on the side because then he'll just do an animation It's super weird and way more complicated than it ever needs to be. I had to look up as to why the map won't always open. Why? Rotom has a lot to say though, and it's honestly really impressive. Rotom says some genuinely funny things at times that I can't help but love the guy. Every Pokemon game has a rival trainer for you. In Pokemon Sun and Moon is this guy named Hal. Hal is a very happy-go-lucky kid that is also taking on the Island Challenge. Because of this, you'll constantly run into him as he's always right behind your progress, doing trials you just did, growing strong with the Pokemon like you are. Your character is incredibly expressionless with a soulless smile throughout most of the journey, and this makes it even funnier when Hal pops up all happy to see you, but you don't even say a word to him. Your character is silent besides some optional responses, and so when Hal wants to always battle you, it feels like your character just doesn't care. I suppose I don't blame him, cause yeah, I don't care about Hal. You'll never be a Pokemon champion. I'm sorry, it's just not in your DNA. You're not the main character. Then you have the mischievous Team Skull group, a group who are out causing trouble by stealing Pokemon from people and are just a pain in the ass for the world of Alola. Well, luckily we are here to stop all the trouble whenever we run into these grunts, kick their ass through Pokemon battles and send them home disappointed at themselves. These Team Skull dudes are genuinely comical and entertaining to battle, so I enjoyed running into them. They are not unique to one another, featuring the same character model and generic grunt names, but the dialogue is self-aware in the fact where one even said, "But we are all called Grunt," which I thought was pretty damn funny. Along your journey you'll encounter a rundown town that Team Skull controls, and it's really cool. The land is in genuine ruin. Even the Poke Center where you heal your Pokemon is destroyed. You can still heal your Pokemon, but you have to pay them unlike any other center in Alola. It's right on character for them, which is fun to see. As for some questionable dialogue, there's one part in the game where you can compete in a 4-player Pokemon battle. This character called the Masked Royal, which is very obviously Kukui, but pretends not to be, says the odd statement, "And now we have our foursome." Woo! Wow, very upfront. How are you gonna write that dialogue? That is quite the line. After finishing the trials, you start to get towards the end of the adventure, which I'm now going to talk about, just to let you know. After the trials, the game starts to feel even more like an adventure as you were looking for specific items, traveling around many different locations, really changing up the pace of the game in a good way. Lily and yourself collect these Sun and Moon flutes that apparently summons up the legendary Pokemon of Alola. When the flutes were played, Lily's Pokemon gets dragged into the power source, revealing the true power of the once innocent looking Nebby. Nebby is actually the legendary Pokemon Lunala. What feels like a finale, Lunala takes Lily and yourself to a different world to where Lily's mom is at. Over the journey we find out Lily's mom is kinda crazy and opened up an ultra wormhole to leave Alola and abandon Lily for a more beautiful world in ultra space. It's actually a pretty dark and eerie world, but she loves it. She is genuinely an asshole to Lily. It's pretty great. She then combines herself with a creature she wants to live with in a boss battle unlike anything else in the game begins. It's a really dope boss battle with a cool design, although you aren't actually versing her, but rather her Pokemon. It was a pretty tight battle with who I had in my party, but when winning, the creature thing essentially explodes and her mother tells Lily, "When did you start becoming beautiful?" Whatever craziness she had wears off and everyone dips out of the ultra space. While I get the need for versing Pokemon, it would have made a lot more sense to attack the mother directly, causing the removal of the creature, cause her just losing in a Pokemon match really doesn't make sense that she just be fine all of a sudden. It would just make more sense both story and gameplay wise. Lily and Lunala part ways through your character in a cool battle against Lunala, not to defeat her, but catch her and provide a new home for the legendary. Then while I felt this would have been a nice wrap up for the game with saving Lily's mom and connecting with the legendary Pokemon, the game continues to the final challenge. The final challenge is to verse the Elite Four and become a Pokemon champion. It makes sense for this to be the end, but it also feels disconnected from the mother storyline that seemed a lot more important for a decent chunk of the runtime. The Elite Four are pretty much people you versed before, although much more efficient, but the real battle is after the Elite Four. Well, congrats, you beat the Elite Four and it is longer than you think it'd be, that doesn't mean you are the Pokemon champion. No, this is the final battle. The one to become a Pokemon champion is against Kukui. High above Alola is this epic battle. With both of us having 6 Pokemon apiece, it was a genuinely tough one to fight. You can only use your moves a certain amount of times, so by the time I was there, Bowtie James was running low on some powerful moves, and so it really wasn't going to be him running the show the whole time. Bowtie James defeats Kukui's Lion Rock with Leaf Blade in one hit. 5 left to go. Bravery surprisingly almost takes out Bowtie James in one hit, so I threw out Scamander. Braviary gets swapped out with Magnezone and unfortunately takes out Scamander. I throw out Lunala and Kukui swaps to Incineroar. So much for being a legendary, because Incineroar takes out Lunala in one damn hit. Like, come on now. You are literally the cover of the game. No wonder why Incineroar is in Super Smash Bros. And you're not Lunala. I throw out Inkling, which also falls in one hit. Damn. Already down to 3 left. I recovered Bowtie James' health and moves and throw him back out. He's my star player after all. And he's down. That's great. Go, Fluidiot! At this point, I'm using these weaker Pokemon to revive Bowtie James again, as he is my only hope. He may not be great against everybody, but the odds are he will be compared to my other Pokemon. Fluidiot is out, and with 2 Pokemon left, I throw out Bowtie James and finally take out the tank that is Incineroar. 4 left to go. Braviary is thrown out again, and I throw out Doggy, a Pokemon that can take quite the hit. In the midst of Braviary blowing away my Pokemon, I revive multiple Pokemon and Bowtie James is thrown out and finally ends Braviary. 3 left to go. Ninetales is revealed while I throw out Doggy. Doggy gets down and Inkling comes out with some powerful poisonous moves, but Kukui switches Ninetales with Magnezone. Magnezone takes out Inkling, Fluidiot, and Doggy, but is finally defeated by Bowtie James's Ghost move. 2 left to go. I was feeling very confident in my strategy of throwing out pawns while reviving the better matchup Pokemon in the background. Ninetales is thrown out again and Bowtie James immediately ends Ninetales' run. This is it. 1 Pokemon left. Kukui's final lifeline is Snorlax. Snorlax takes out Bowtie James with a powerful crunch, but I revive him while Lunala falls again. And again, so much for having a legendary. Bowtie James is out one last time as his powerful Leaf Blade move is done twice to Snorlax to finally end his run. It's official. Kukui loses and you officially become Alola's Pokemon champion. That was a rough final battle. It's exactly why I stocked up on so many health items, because if not, there was no way I'd win. Kukui tells you, congrats, and you're a champion we could all be proud of. An epic celebration screen pops up and it shows the Pokemon in your party, and yeah, I'm proud of these dudes. They worked hard to get to this point. Other than Lunala. Dude just existed and honestly played way worse than every other Pokemon in my party. Legendary. Regardless, the region of Alola celebrated its first ever Pokemon champion throughout the night. Everyone on your journey has gathered together, all happy and laughing with each other. Lily asked you to follow her to thank the Garden of Alola in the only way you can, a Pokemon battle. Yes, it all goes back to Tapu Koko and its one final battle. Although it was very one-sided, as Bowtie James just straight up destroys him in 2 moves. So much for these powerful Pokemon, they are all trash! The two then head back to the celebration, but it's really more of a goodbye party, as afterwards Lily says she'll be leaving Alola. It's a really nice end with Hao, Kukui, and yourself waving goodbye to someone you were with the entire journey. Then, the credits roll. The credits are really dope, with cutscenes still playing in the back a decent chunk of time, heading back to your home after such a long adventure you had, finally becoming the Pokemon champion. After the credits, there's a photo with Lily and Lunala saying, "I'm so glad I got to meet you." Then a final The End screen pops up with a photo of Lily, Hao, and yourself, and the journey concludes. That was a really good ending. While it was a little long-winded, lasting a good 25 minutes, but I get it, it was a lengthy game to wrap up. That was Pokemon Moon. That was a really good game. From the entertaining trials and locations to the great Pokemon and its battles, it's definitely an adventure that feels unique in this long-running series of Pokemon. Alola is definitely a region that I'll always look back fondly and admittedly compare to when thinking about the series and playing other games down the line. I understand why people want to continue to transfer their older Pokemon to the newer games, because you don't want these journeys to end. As time passes by in real life, it's nice seeing a familiar face grow with you along the way. For me, odds are I won't see Bowtie James again, and so with that, I close my Pokemon chapter with a farewell to the greatness of Bowtie James. Maybe, just maybe, we'll reunite again in the future, but if not, it was a good time in Alola. Overall, I'm going to give Pokemon Sun and Moon a, the legendary name in the game is Bowtie James, out of 10. It was definitely an entertaining adventure. Next time, we'll be taking a look at a different region in a different game. Which one and when? Well, only time will tell. I am looking forward to it though. That'll be it for today though. Thank you so much for watching. Share these around as they take so long to make. Have you played Pokemon Sun or Moon? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know down in the comments below and I'll see you all next time. Pokemon Sun and Moon was a cool tropical filled adventure, but it is officially out of the backlog.
Okay, first one.
No clue, Whaleman.
Herboblish.
Wishcash. Next one.
Ferrity.
Zangarola.
There's no way that's the name, but it should be.
New one.
Okay, this is one that I feel like I should know. This is Wombat. Fuck.
It's alright. Always the next one.
We versed these guys. This is not Magnezone. This is was three of them Mag 3s.
Mag 3s.
Okay, just take what I said. You gotta say something different.
Magneton. Number 24.
Igloo guy, huh? Pass.
Smash.
What are you playing?
35.
BH. I mean, wait, that's
Number 85.
Such a repose there.
Number 134.
we've been through like 100 Pokemon already. Like, who the hell is this guy? Where's Pikachu?
I could see myself as this man. Amazing design.
You think? I mean, I kind of disagree.
Number 181.
Do you give up yet?
No, but do you?
No, I'm not giving up. All I'm saying is that we could be here for 7 hours for all I know. I mean, we don't know a single one of these.
Number 208.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Another one.
You know, I've seen this guy before, but I just don't know his name. You know his name?
No.
Yeah, I figured.
New one.
He's like 300 and something.
333.
I don't know. He looks cool though. He looks cool.
Oh, well, Robert knows this one.
I'm not waking him up. I refuse to lose.
Oh, Raichu!
Correct.
Let's go! What happened? What happened? I fell asleep like 3 times. You couldn't get one? Alright, well, that's it. It's done. It's over. It's over. GG, sir.
Only took well over 600 Pokemon, but finally one of your bloody balance got it.
Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to grab our next game, which is this.